So just got done at the junkyard. Man, it's pretty windy out here, but I got some wiring so I could, you know, this is from like an Ultima, but it has the colors I need, and hopefully they're long enough. I got some horns for the car, and I got some AC stuff. I needed that evap can, or not the evap, but the dryer for the just because the bracket it mounts, so hopefully I can mount it somewhere up front and you know, get this the LS make it have AC and all that good stuff. It's kind of windy out. It would be a nice day if it wasn't, so I'm gonna get this. I need to go get gas. Yesterday I was gonna do it. One issue with having premix is I didn't have a funnel, so I need to find a good funnel. This looks like a good funnel. We'll see if this fits in the tank. Need to make sure there's nothing in it. There's like a little black thing, and then make sure I could get gas, because I need to add the premix to get gas. But there's that little like flapper in there, and you know, I couldn't like hold it open and pour it in at the same time. This is like literally the first thing you learn when you, well, I knew this before, but you premix. But I forgot to bring a funnel yesterday, so I couldn't get gas, so I had to pour the oil in, but I didn't have a funnel. So bring a funnel if you're gonna premix. There's this Cummins truck. It looks pretty sick. It has slicks, and wonder what it runs. Rotary brother. Someone's out here with a 240, probably an SR. 6.4 against a Silverado.
I gotta learn how to skate. Junior.
I told him what he needs to start doing is fucking boosting since here and then weld it up with the line.
Back it up. Stance out STK. Got the FD over here all sad by itself. I'm done with the drags. They're boring. Look at this chick over here. She's on a unicycle. All right, so I was all pumped that I've been kind of getting the wiring done on the 240. I really didn't time lapse it because, you know, I already showed you guys a few time lapse videos of the wiring, but the whole top is done. Now all I need to do is work my way down, which will be really easy. And then once I get to a certain point, I can finish this up, and then I can put the fenders back on, headlights back on, all the AC stuff in, and once that's done, pretty much all I have to do is just bunch the harness up kind of just like this, and straight back, and then I'll have to deal with the fuse box and the power distribution and everything, and then there's 2 wires I have to connect for the power folding mirrors. But otherwise, this is getting pretty close to being sad because I found some major issues with the FD. So, you know, it runs and drives really good. I found that the intercooler is actually rubbed through and cracked, and I think I made it worse yesterday. I didn't know there's construction. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you this, but you can see how it's kind of rounded there. There's a big, like, quarter size, well, maybe not quarter size, but like a decent size hole I could stick my finger in, and on this side it is cracked. And then I kind of rounded it off yesterday. They're like doing construction, and this thing is pretty low to the ground. It's 4 fingers. That's probably like, I don't know, I'd say like 2 inches, 3 inches maybe. But yeah, they had like those stupid little lip things for the bridges, and I went that way because I didn't think they're doing any construction that way, and they were. So like 5 of them were okay. The last one, you caught the intercooler and made it a lot worse. So I need to weld that back up on both sides. This side's cracked, this side has a hole. Hold boost. So that's probably why the wastegate hasn't been opening. Let me put the hood prop up. So another issue that I found with this, I was looking at pulling the oil metering pump off because I want to make a block off plate, and I just kind of noticed that a lot of stuff is loose. So earlier today I went and filled the tires up with air because it was getting this like really weird stuff going on when I was driving it down the highway. It was almost like floaty, and like one of the tires was like that back rear back there was 15 psi, and this one was like 25, that was like 30, and that other one was like 35. So filled all the tires up, then I came back here. I was gonna do the oil metering pump, and I was like looking at this fuel pressure regulator, and it's like it's missing a bolt. The other bolt is almost out. There's a bolt missing on this. There's bolts missing on the intake manifold. I don't even know if they're supposed to be like, there's like an open hole right there. I don't know if there's supposed to be like a block off plate for that. These vacuum ports, there's a zip tie holding these up like that, and I don't know if these goes through, if they welded them on the other side, but they're just open. And another thing is like the fuel rail's a little bit loose. A lot of stuff's loose, like fuel wise, and like rotaries and fuel is not a good thing because they run so hot. Like any type of like fuel, if it gets on the exhaust, this thing is going to go up in flames. So another issue is like all the coolant hose routing for the turbocharger. Also the return for the turbocharger, I was looking down there. The only reason I looked down there was because I was going to pull the oil metering pump. The return is literally kinked right there. You can see it right there. It's like kinked and cracked. So I mean, this thing runs and drives really good. That probably explains my oil issue coming out of the blow valve, and in the compressor side it's probably not draining back in the oil pan completely as I'm driving it. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna fix a lot of the fuel system issue, and fix the intercooler. I mean, I was glad I found this stuff before it like caught on fire or did something crazy, because just because these things, like I literally start this thing up in like a minute, maybe less than a minute after I start it, the exhaust housing is completely hot and the downpipe is hot. So these things definitely run really hot, and that would have been a big issue because you know, I don't want to catch my FD on fire. That wouldn't be tight at all. The headlight stuff's coming in, and should be here this week, but since I have this issue, I may. And then there's like bolts missing on the intake manifold. There's one there and some others there. So this thing definitely you know, had some janky work going on with it. It was like half-assed, and you know, the bolts for the bumpers aren't bolted on. Like somebody like knew how to bolt stuff together, but only halfway. So I'm gonna definitely have to mess with this a little bit more, and you know, so I don't have any issues later on. What I'm probably gonna do is redo the intercooler piping, and I might redo the intercooler, just depending. I might mount the radiator a different way. just depending on how it goes. But I really don't want this thing to be down, so I'm probably gonna, you know, button some stuff up just so I can still drive it, and maybe work on one thing at a time. I'll probably pull the oil metering pump off and make a block off, and then pull the turbocharger off and make like some stuff with the with some hand fittings. So I'll probably tap these housings and have actual decent line going in. I'll see if this has a restrictor in it. I'll probably end up putting a restrictor in this and putting a new line on that, because that line definitely looks pretty like cooked. And I don't know, just buttoning up. So I mean, I guess that's what you get when you buy a car from somebody, and you know, I mean, it is a good deal, but just sketchy, very, very sketchy. And then I'll probably fix some of the oil leaks and stuff with that. It looks like the oil metering pump is leaking pretty well, and that'll be nice when that's deleted. But I think I'll probably end up either polishing or powder coating the lower, upper, and maybe the throttle body. I'm not exactly sure, and go from there. But yeah, I'm glad I caught this stuff now instead of it like happening later on, and me having like a big issue with it. So yeah. And then another thing is I need to figure out where I'm going to mount that sensor for the True Boost. So this sensor right here, I need to find where to mount it. I may like weld a bung on an air cooler pipe or something like that. And right now how it's set up is that it really just I don't know, I'd say it's something I would never do, but people do it. It's like a compression fitting, or it's like a sandwich fitting, I guess is what you'd call it, on the intercooler coupler. So, and then that goes to the gritty boost solenoid. So this would just be like on an intercooler pipe or on the intake manifold or something like that. So I'll figure out a spot to where to put it and go from there. So I guess a little bit more than I wanted to do to it, but I think I should still be able to mess around with it and drive it. It won't turn into something like this because I'll just do simple stuff, and fittings and stuff like that. Tapping housings isn't really that big of an issue. I have all the tools to do it, but it's just something I didn't want to have to do. So I think that's going to be the end of this video, and I'm just pumped that I found that before it led into like a huge like fire or issue or something like that. So thanks for watching. Comment below, subscribe if you're not subscribed, click that bell to get notifications, and see you guys next time.